For today's video, I'm going to be using acrylic yarn, and this is Red Heart yarn. And you can also use this tutorial to make Stan's hat or just any other color combination that you want. Personally, I don't have the pom-pom maker, so I'm going to show you how to do that with your hands later on. I'm going to begin with my brim color, so I'm going to make a slip knot and then I'm going to make a chain length of 15. Now that I have my chain length done, it's time to add our other color. And with this color, I'm going to make a chain length of 25, which means we're going to have 40 chains total. So you're just going to put in your color just like this, and then you're just going to chain 25. After you finish your 40 chains, you can also tie this to the start. That way it's not in the way and it doesn't get loosened up as you work with it. So I'm just going to make a quick little knot and then I'll show you what to do next. We're going to start doing half double crochet, so you're going to skip this stitch and go into the second one, yarn over, go straight through, grab the yarn and pull all the way through. Yarn over, go straight through, grab the yarn and pull all the way through. And you're going to repeat this until you're one stitch away from the yellow part. I'm almost done with my blue part, so I'm just going to make a half double crochet, but I'm not going to fully finish it off. I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to finish off that stitch over there. So now I'm just going to continue making half double crochets like normal until I reach the end. I'm really close to the end and I want to get rid of this loose tail over here. So what I do is I go in the stitch and I bring the tail forward and then I just crochet over it. For row 2, I'm going to chain 1 and flip my work, and I'm going to make half double crochets only on the back loops. So see how there's 2 loops? You're only going to focus on the one that's behind. So I'm just going to go straight in and finish off my half double crochet. And again, we're only working on our back loops from now on. I'll meet you back once I'm close to the blue part. Usually when you change colors, you bring the yarn with you, but you're actually going to leave the yarn behind. So I am one stitch away from finishing the yellow part, and I'm just going to make a half double crochet but not fully finish it off. Now I'm going to switch colors and I'm going to leave the yellow behind, and I'm only going to use it for the brim. That way the yellow is not peeking out through the blue and the blue is not peeking out through the yellow. So now that we're here, I'm also going to hide this tail and crochet over it, but I'm also going to show you how to get rid of this line over here and make a really clean edge. So you're going to make a half double crochet and you're going to go under this blue loop over here, and then you're going to go through the back loop, and then I'm also going to grab the tail and crocheting over it. So now you're closing off this stitch, and now this line is more straight. And now you can continue making half double crochets like normal, and I'll meet you back for row 3. I'm at row 3 and I already chained 1, so you're going to flip your work and you're going to make half double crochets only in the back loop until we reach the yellow part. I'm at my last blue stitch, so I'm going to switch colors again, and just like earlier, we're going to go underneath this stitch to maintain a straight edge. You can skip this part, but then you're going to see a little bit of zigzags, and if that's okay with you, then you can do that as well. But I'm just going to go underneath the stitch, go behind, grab the yarn, and then finish off the stitch. So now I'm just going to continue making half double crochets. This is how the edge looks like, and you're going to continue this until you have 44 rows total. And once I finish that, I'll come back and I'll show you how to sew it together and do the pom-pom. I just finished my 44 rows, and the way you count your rows is by counting this row that's sticking out. This row counts as 2. It's not going to be this side, but this side. So you should have 22 rows that stick out, and 22 plus 22 is 44. Now it's time to sew this together, and I like to sew one part in one color and then the other part in a different color. That way it blends in perfectly. With a tapestry needle, you're going to go towards the edge and then tie it off at the end. You can do any sewing method that you like, but I like to do it this way, where I only focus on the back loop and also the front loop, and that way when you flip it over, it blends in with the other rows. So I'm going to continue this until I finish the yellow part. Now that I finished with my yellow part, I'm just going to tie it off and then start my blue portion. Just like in the beginning, you're going to go through both loops and then you're just going to tie it off with itself, and then you're going to repeat the same thing we just did. So I'm going to go through the back loops and then just go in a zigzag way. I just finished sewing it and I cut off these ends, but I'm not cutting this one just yet because this one's going to be in the opposite way. That way it's not noticeable when the brim is folded. Now we're going to work on closing the top. So I'm just going to go through and then I'm just going to go in and out of every single stitch I can. And then I'll meet you back once I finish this. I just finished looping it through, so I'm just going to pull this and I'm going to tie it off really tight, but not tight enough where it breaks the yarn. When you finish tying it off, you can cut it off, and now you're going to flip this inside out and then fold the brim over. Now that the brim is folded over, we can get rid of this loose end. So I'm just going to go underneath here under a loop, and then I'm just going to bring the yarn back and then split the yarn in half. One tail is going to go underneath, the other one stays on top, and then you just tie it off. Now that this part is done, I'm going to show you how to do the pom-pom. It's time to make our pom-pom, and you're going to spread your fingers as far as possible and you're going to wrap it around. And I'm not really keeping track of how many spins I'm doing, but just keep doing it until it's a thickness that you like. This is the thickness I'm going for, and now I'm just going to remove it off my hands, and now I'm going to tie this up into a bow. And you're going to tie it as tight as possible. Before you cut it, try to round it up and separate it so that it's easier to get through. And I'm holding this part, which is also going to be attached to the beanie. So now I'm just going to cut in a circular motion. This is what it should look like right after, and now you can give it a haircut and round it up to your liking. This is what it looks like after I cut it, and now it's time to put on our beanie. So I'm going to take my crochet hook and I'm going to poke it through the top, and with the tails we created earlier, I'm just going to put one down and then put another one in the opposite direction. And then you're going to flip it to the bottom and you're going to tie it off really tight. Make sure it's secure, and if you need to secure it some more, feel free to use your tapestry needle and just loop it through the pom-pom and just make it more secure to your liking. But this is what our Cartman beanie looks like, and we're done. This is the final result, and I love how it turned out, and I'm currently working on a mini series for South Park, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week.